Adolf Hitler was a fascist dictator who ruled Germany from 1933 to 1945. He is considered one of the most evil figures in history for the following reasons. Starting World War II, Hitler's invasion of Poland in 1939 triggered a global conflict that resulted in the deaths of over 50 million people. Orchestrating the Holocaust was the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime. Hitler's ideology of racial supremacy fueled this horrific act. Totalitarianism. Hitler crushed democracy in Germany and established a totalitarian state where all aspects of life were controlled by the government. If you'd like to learn more about Adolf Hitler, I can provide some resources. Adolf Hitler was a fascist dictator who ruled Germany from 1933 to 1945. He is considered one of the most evil figures in history for the following reasons. Starting World War II, Hitler's invasion of Poland in 1939 triggered a global war that resulted in the deaths of over 50 million people. The Holocaust. Hitler orchestrated the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, alongside millions of others deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. This horrific event is known as the Holocaust. His rise to power stemmed from a combination of factors including Germany's defeat in World War I. The social and economic instability that followed the war left many Germans angry and looking for scapegoats. The Nazi Party's ideology. Hitler's Nazi Party preyed on these feelings by promoting hatred against minorities and promising to restore Germany's national pride. Hitler's charisma. Hitler was a skilled manipulator who used propaganda and public rallies to win over the German people. If you'd like to learn more about Adolf Hitler, I can provide some resources without linking to them directly. Adolf Hitler was a fascist dictator who ruled Germany from 1933 to 1945. He was the leader of the Nazi Party and is considered one of the most evil figures in history. Here's a quick rundown of his actions. Rise to power. Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in 1933. He quickly consolidated power and turned Germany into a totalitarian state. World War II. Hitler's expansionist ambitions led to the outbreak of World War II in 1939. The Holocaust. The Nazi regime under Hitler was responsible for the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews, known as the Holocaust. Millions of others, including political opponents, homosexuals, and people with disabilities, were also persecuted and murdered. His actions resulted in the deaths of tens of millions of people and the devastation of much of Europe. Hitler is a symbol of tyranny, racism, and anti-Semitism. Here's additional information about Adolf Hitler. Early life. Born in Austria-Hungary in 1889. Struggled in school and aspired to be an artist but was rejected from art school in Vienna. Served in the German army during World War I, where he was decorated for bravery. Rise to power. Joined the German Workers' Party, DAP, in 1919, which later became the Nazi Party. Became leader of the Nazi Party in 1921. Promoted a nationalistic and racist ideology, blaming Germany's problems on Jews, communists, and other minorities. Used powerful propaganda to gain popularity, exploiting economic hardships and resentment after World War I. Attempted to overthrow the German government in a failed coup d'état in 1923, but served a short prison sentence where he wrote his infamous book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle. Released from prison in 1924, he continued to build support for the Nazi Party through rallies, speeches, and intimidation tactics. Dictatorship and World War II. Appointed Chancellor of Germany in 1933. Consolidated power by eliminating rivals, silencing opposition, and establishing a one-party dictatorship. Implemented aggressive expansionist policies, claiming territories inhabited by Germans and violating the Treaty of Versailles. Invaded Poland in 1939, triggering the start of World War II. Oversaw the German military during the war, though not always with success. The Holocaust. Orchestrated the systematic persecution and extermination of Jews across Europe, known as the Holocaust. This involved the establishment of concentration camps and extermination camps, resulting in the systematic murder of 6 million Jews. Ordered the persecution and killings of other groups deemed undesirable, including political opponents, Roma, Sinti and Roma, homosexuals, and people with disabilities. Downfall and death. As the war turned against Germany, Hitler became increasingly isolated and paranoid. committed suicide in his Berlin bunker in 1945, shortly before the end of the war. It's important to remember that Hitler's actions were horrific and resulted in immense suffering and loss of life. Studying his life and the events surrounding his rise to power is crucial to understand the dangers of fascism, racism, and unchecked power. If you'd like to delve deeper into specific aspects of Hitler's life or the Nazi regime, feel free to ask. Here's a deeper look into Adolf Hitler. Early life and influences. Born in Braunau am Inn, Austria-Hungary in 1889. Held a lifelong ambition to become an artist but failed to gain entry into an art academy. Served in the German army during World War I, where he was decorated for bravery. Became disillusioned with the defeat of Germany and the Treaty of Versailles, which he blamed for the country's hardships. Rise to power. Joined the German Workers' Party, DAP, in 1919, which later became the Nazi Party. Became leader of the Nazi Party in 1921 and rose to prominence through charismatic speeches and scapegoating tactics. Exploited the economic and political instability of the Weimar Republic to gain support for the Nazi Party, which promised national renewal and blamed Germany's problems on minorities like Jews and communists. Attempted a failed coup d'état in 1923, known as the Beer Hall Putsch, and was imprisoned for a brief period. There, he wrote his infamous book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle, outlining his ideology and plans for Germany. Nazi ideology and dictatorship. Hitler's ideology was based on extreme nationalism, racial supremacy, and anti-Semitism. He believed in the superiority of the Aryan race and blamed Jews for various societal ills. The Nazi Party came to power legally in 1933 when Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. He quickly consolidated power, eliminating opposition, and establishing a totalitarian state. Propaganda, suppression of dissent, and control of the media were used to promote Nazi ideology and maintain Hitler's absolute authority. World War II and the Holocaust. Hitler's expansionist ambitions, fueled by his belief in Lebensraum, living space, for the Aryan race, led to the invasion of Poland in 1939, triggering World War II. During the war, the Nazi regime implemented the systematic genocide of Jews, known as the Holocaust. This involved the mass murder of 6 million Jews, alongside millions of others deemed undesirable by the regime, in concentration camps and through other means. Downfall and legacy. After initial victories, Nazi Germany faced defeat on multiple fronts, culminating in Hitler's suicide in 1945, shortly before the end of the war. Hitler's legacy is one of immense destruction, human rights violations, and the perpetration of one of the most horrific genocides in history. He serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked extremism and the importance of upholding democratic values and human rights. It's important to remember that this is just a brief overview of an incredibly complex and dark period in history. Further exploration of this topic through reliable sources is encouraged to gain a deeper understanding of the historical context and the lasting impact of Hitler's actions. Here's some additional information about Adolf Hitler. Early life. Born in Braunau am Inn, Austria in 1889. Had a troubled childhood marked by his father's strictness and his mother's indulgence. Failed to gain admission to the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, which fueled his sense of resentment and failure. Rise to power. Joined the German Workers' Party, DAP, in 1919, which later became the Nazi Party. Became leader of the Nazi Party in 1921. Capitalized on Germany's economic woes and political instability following World War I to gain popularity through charismatic speeches and scapegoating tactics. Attempted a failed coup d'état in 1923, the Beer Hall Putsch, and was imprisoned, where he wrote his manifesto, Mein Kampf, outlining his ideology. Released from prison in 1924 and continued to build the Nazi Party, exploiting